Hello, everybody. El Capitan and the conductor are back for a second night in a row, and we're bringing reinforcements. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens media train. Welcome to One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. And we are powered by drroto.com. Me, personally, in the center here. I am your humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media Train. You can find me on X at Dr. William Cannon, just like our guy Witz did. We'll get to that in a minute here, but follow me and I will smash that follow back button. Let's get right. As you can see on your screen, I am getting to two of the absolute best in the business to do it. But starting as always with El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. Follow him on X at MC Holland34, the OG Money Mike. That is Mr. Mike Holland. What it do, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? It was nice to run up the leaderboard with you. I couldn't quite stay at the very top, but I had a very nice little night tonight. So, you'll never bat an eye when you go, 2-3X on the slate. So, Looks like we nailed a lot of plays for tonight's slate. We're obviously here to talk about tomorrow night's slate, but, we want to count our green screens when we get them. Appreciate everybody joining last night. And, we're looking forward to another show. This is, night 3 in a row? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ooh. Who knows, man? We're just coming live almost
Sunday,
every
Monday,
night.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, of course we are. That's what we do. We're coming to you. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And it's also a wonderful night when I get to say last in the intros, but first in your hearts, he's back and better than ever and bluer than ever. The Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media, who you can find in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. He is Eric the Blue. That's Mr. Eric Romoff. What's happening?
Man, I am in the throes of my qualifier nightmares. I'm looking at all these lineups that are flame on, and every single one of them is coming in second place. So tis the season. We build up these bankrolls all season long so that we can go fire at these qualifiers through a couple of twin lineups in the dollar and what have you. So not all is lost, but so close yet so far away. It sounds like Ryan was telling us on some of these lineups, a little post and clinging season. Definitely a couple of guys that were flame on. How about that Georgia Tech start? Yikes! Not exactly the way you want to start off a basketball game. Mama Rocks here as always, heating it up with the what it do, and definitely agreeing with Ryan. Tech was not the play, at least in terms of how they started tonight.
46-20 is how that game started. But we did have some our fantasy lineup started good tonight. Always nice to hang up on top of the leaderboard with Mike and the other breadheads. Yeah, we saw a guy Witz who tweeted at us. He snuck past us on there. I think Witz ended up 11th in that pull-up jumper tonight. So shout out to Witz. And Mike had a top 30. I was like 32 on that one. So good night overall there in the old pull-up jumper. We're shooting for the 2K to first tomorrow. Before we get there, make sure everybody watching, show us some love.
Do it.
Hit that like and subscribe button and hop in the live chat like Ryan and Mama Rocks already have. If you like it, drop some fire emojis in there like our guy at The Real Napier is going to do, who you've seen all over the socials of Green Screens Media lately, putting out the good content for you there. At The Real Napier on Twitter, our guy Nape C Hustle doing his thing. So make sure you follow him and us on X and follow at One and Done CBB so you don't miss anything that we're doing with the show page. You always know when we're going live. And you know how else you do that? You turn on your notification bells on YouTube. And every time we're going live, you're hanging out with us like Cam does, who hopped in the comments saying, nice run tonight. Appreciate that, Cam. I know we see you up there. We see you running and gunning up there too a lot. So always good to hang out with you tonight. And right on cue. That guy. There we go. Nate.
Jay, we should throw up a poll. We should throw up a poll about who has the better profile pick. Our guy, Eric the Blue, or our guy, Nate C. Hustle. Because, man, those gentlemen are shining in those picks, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We might have to. That can maybe be an impromptu. If you need to just drop it in the old live chat, keep it rolling. Let us know what you think with the better glamour shot there on the profile picture, the old PFP.
Please, somebody drop one.
Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. Push all those buttons and hang out with us on a Tuesday night going for the Wednesday slate. Now, like I said, the Big Jam 2K to first going to 12-game slate tomorrow. We are showcasing, as we like to say, 3 games. They're 3 out of the top 4 totals, I should say, projected on this slate. So let's do the overview as we like to do at the top of the show tonight, because we miss him so much and we're just so glad to see him back on the screen. We are going to start with our guy, Eric the Blue. Eric, what's the overview of the slate? What are we to think about this Wednesday slate?
Man, another night with just a pile of guys 8K or above, right? So feels pretty similar to tonight's slate, which if you weren't playing qualifiers, we just about unqualifiedly smashed, right? So with that being the case, like the mid tier is a pretty clear lane for us to take, right? Like sprinkle in a little bit of value, pick and pull from some of the, slightly more expensive guys. But yeah, anytime you're talking about a board that has this many pay up options, coming down a little bit is a way to get different. And as is often the case, we're also going to need some injury news to open up for really any value. I mean, there are a couple of names that are, pretty reasonably priced, but nothing that you feel great about as we look for some of these guys with questionable tags to eventually get ruled out, or at least have some clarity on that situation. That's our best source for reliable value, right? Like we're kind of dumpster diving as we sit, down in that low tier right now. So hopefully something opens up. Mike, any thoughts, either kind of agreeing with that or beyond that you want to give to the people?
No, yeah, for sure. Agree with that. And man, mid-tier kind of beat it up today. I mean, Klingon was there. You didn't necessarily have to have post. The value was very, very sparse, but the pricing, I feel like on tonight's slate was weird. Like you had a lot of expensive guys. The mid-tier, you had some cheaper guys in those weird games like Wake Forest, the Georgia Tech guys still got there. Tonight, there's not really that like soft mid-tier. So I think it's going to be an even lower scoring night than it was for tomorrow night. It's going to be even lower scoring than it was for tonight for sure. Jay kind of called it out. We're going to run down 3 of the 4 showcase games, but man, it's Alabama Auburn game. I mean, it's separated from the pack. So how do we attack this game is going to be absolutely critical, because everything else is pretty junky kind of. I mean, you're basically in the 140s. You got the LSU Tennessee game close to 150, but it's a 15-point spread on KenPom, and it's probably going to be a blowout. So everything else, you're looking at 143, 140, some 140s, 137s. I mean, it's pretty tough out there again. But man, this is what makes it a lot of fun. So, Jay, man, I'm ready to make a run up the leaderboard again with you tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're going to run out that leaderboard like Nate C. Hustle runs their glamour shots to get it done, as he said in the chat there. Scott Harris hopping in.
Hey, what's up, Scott?
Won my cash game tonight with your Core Four. Thanks a lot, guys. Boy. Appreciate that, Scott. We love to see it. We love to see that green in the chat. Any way you can let us know, show us, shout us out. We love to see it when the breadheads get that bread. So congrats on that, Scott. Mama rocks. Olivari is the price king. We'll get to that.
What a time to be alive.
We'll get to that. And then Cam jumping in with his analysis already. The value lies with McDaniel, Jalen Williams, and Logan. Okay. All right.
Logan, man, this guy, dude. Like, man. Which one of you puts him in our show sheet? I'm telling you. One of y'all.
He's not. I'm just, it's he's on that level. It's Cammy Camerson. What do you expect? Appreciate that. Keep the live chat hopping. If you're brand new, let us know. First time, long time. If you haven't hopped in the chat before, do that too. And just say what's up, fire emojis, whatever emoji you want. Drop it in there. We'll put it up. We'll flash it up there. We just want to hear from you. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It is now time for the 3-game showcase. We're going to start with Alabama on the road with Auburn. Auburn 3-point home favorites there. 84 implied points for Auburn and 81 implied points for the Crimson Tide. So I bet you know that's why we're talking about this game. 165 points on this total here. Now, we know both of these teams play a lot of guys. I mean, it is what it is. There's a lot of talent on both sides of the court here. So let's just hop in with Alabama, Mike. 10-man rotation. This is a good basketball team.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, man. Just outside the DFS world, like this is it's going to be a lot of fun, up and down. 20 guys might check in, which is going to suck for DFS purposes. Might be more, man. Like the way these two teams foul, these two teams foul a ton. So there's going to be a lot of free throws, a lot of guys sitting early, a lot of 11th and 12th men hitting the floor, I believe. So, got to be a little careful with this one, as we always say, with really the Auburn side, 5th in pitch minutes used on the year in Alabama. Not that far behind, but both great offenses. Auburn, obviously, the number 1 defense in the SEC. They have been kicking butt, but Alabama, the number 1 offense in the SEC. So something's got to give, right? Like if you were one of those NFL announcers, one of these has to give. But Alabama 13th in the SEC in turnovers. So the on-ball pressure is going to be something to watch, right? Auburn is 2nd in steal rate. Alabama's dead last, 14th in the conference in opponent steal rate. So if I'm looking at points, man, I'm liking Auburn at the jungle. -3. If you can get -4, I would definitely take that for sure. But on this Alabama side, Jay, I mean, Mark Sears, he's 8,300, right? Like, he's going to play 38 minutes. He's going to take a bunch of shots. He's a steady player, 23% assist rate, shooting 45% from 3. Now, this on-ball pressure, we'll see. We'll see how these two guys handle it, him and Estrada. So, well, I love to play him in tournaments. I think he's still viable in tournaments. I think I like him a little more for cash setting, just due to the total and because I feel like the upside may be a little depressed based on this defense. So Mark Sears at 8,300. I'll play him some in cash for sure, easily. For tournaments, though, I kind of like Aaron Estrada because I saved $1,200 and he's got 40 fantasy point upside. He's a guy that, can grab rebounds, hand out assists at actually a higher rate than Sears in both. Carries a 3% steal rate as well. Doesn't shoot the 3 ball as well. But for $1,200 less, I mean, I'm getting that savings. I'm getting into that mid tier. You know what I mean? So if I'm picking for tournaments, I feel like Aaron Estrada is kind of the guy I want to go to. Everything else on this roster, it's got something going on with it, right? Like a prime example is Latrell Wrightsell. He's 5,700. I'm not in love. Obviously, the usage rate on the season is 14%. He's taking more shots in conference, more active in conference. A 26, a 20, a 26, and a 30 in the last 4. Feels like one of those guys would like to say $500 too expensive. But with this on-ball pressure, it feels like these wings are going to get some 3-ball opportunities. So. Could he knock down and get close to a 25? I believe he could. I don't know that I'm going to end up using anybody outside of Estrada and Sears in this one. So it's just kind of tough, man. Like I feel like Auburn's really going to come out and put the clamps on these guys. I'm a little jaded from the South Carolina game the other day too. So we're gonna have to kind of wait and see. how exactly this is going to unfold. But for me personally, a little bit of some Sears in cash, and then Aaron Estrada in tournaments. So looks like we got a couple of comments here. Cam coming up. Sears went for 40 against Auburn a few weeks ago. Estrada 17.8. Yeah, that did happen. So this is, obviously another notch for me as to why I want to play Estrada.
Yeah, but that's all well and good, though. But first of all, the comment that needs to be addressed in the live chat right now is Cam. Some call me Trilly Donovan. Is it you, Trilly? Is it you, Cam?
Cammy Donovan.
Good stuff. Thanks, Cam. Thanks for hopping in there. Go ahead. I know we were Eric.
Yeah, I mean we've obviously already seen this game, right? But yeah. The thing is like it just makes Estrada more viable because no one's going to play him. He's going to be 3% like he always. No one ever played. He should just be playing for Wake Forest at this point. No one ever plays him. He's always in the mid-7s. He has 35 to 40 fantasy point upside. And, yeah, everyone's going to kind of get on that Sears train. And this one's on the road this time. You feel like Bruce Pearl's going to try to take the ball out of Sears' hand and make somebody else beat him. And Aaron Estrada's the guy who's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. At least I feel like that's how it's going to play out. But that's kind of what creates the leverage there, Eric. So what say you on the rest of these guys, or even the two guys up at the top?
Dude, I feel like Estrada is always going to be the answer for us, right? Like he's always $1,000 to $1,400 less expensive. Mm-hmm. He's always 1/3 the ownership, right? Like at some point, like you just have to lean into the fact that we're pot committed and we're waiting for that inside straight, right? But I mean, honestly, like both of them are fantastic players. I think you can make a case for rostering either of them, which is a lot of what you can say about some of the guys that we haven't talked about so far. Grant Nelson, I mean, like I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to play him, right? Like he's got the tournament upside in his bag. He'll reach back and get 30 plus, here and there, but also he'll sprinkle in some 15s and some 11s, which just absolutely kill you at 7K. The 7K price tag that he's carrying, it's one that has come down a little bit, right? He put up a mid-teens dud last time out, so get a bit of a haircut. For me, like I would feel more confident if he was like in the low to mid 6K range, just how inconsistent he is. But I mean, look, like he put up 14 and 11 against them at home. Mike, you mentioned that this is an Auburn side that fouls a ton. Nelson has been to the line almost 90 times on the season, shoots pretty well from there, right? 88% about. So, he could stack up a few more points at the charity stripe. Again, he's always, more of a tournament play for me. And I don't think this game is any different, which is a lot of what you can say about Rylan Griffin. 5.4K, like another super shot dependent guy. It feels like he's got a big game coming soon, but ultimately these shot dependent guys, like this is kind of the price range where we feel more comfortable playing them, right? Like it's when they creep up into the 6Ks where it can put you in a real bad spot. 5.4K, like, this is a game where, we want to take shots on getting exposure to. It's far and away, the highest total on the board. And, in that first matchup, one where he put up 17 and 7 rebounds, right? So like the upside's there. And I think the price tag is right to where you can take a couple shots on Griffin.
Griffin was 6.5K not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a short stint there in the mid 6s, but still, like, he's put together a couple of games there where that the ceiling is there, right? And at 5.4, it's kind of it's there if you need it, I guess. Mama Rocks in the live chat. What's your thoughts on a backup Bama forward for value, like for foul issues or something like that, like Stevenson?
And it's not for me. Like I said, I don't know, Mama Rocks. Like I don't like the value's ugly out there. I don't know that you need to go there. There's some guys that we're going to talk about that just feel like safer, even smarter plays. Like I don't think we need to go to Diabate and Kieran Stevenson. I just don't think you have to. So great question, though. I mean, obviously, you want to try to find ways. For me, I think there's just not a lot of ceiling with those guys because they don't play enough minutes. Now, if there were multiple injuries and things like that, and you told me like Stevenson was going to get 29 minutes, then yeah, obviously everyone's going to play them at that point, right? But there's just so many guys they can rotate in that even with foul trouble and things like that. I mean, Grant Nelson, like he's just going to be on the floor even if he has 2 fouls anyway. Seen that a few times already this year, so. Yeah, I don't think you need to go there, Mama Rocks, but that's a great question for sure. If you wanted to take a shot, you could, because sometimes that's the path that you catch the right 4 or 5x. You could win a tournament. I just don't see it happening, though.
Especially on this slate, like you nail value and you're in good shape.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to nail a lineup one time with Grant Nelson, and it is what I would like to do. I can't quit that guy, man.
One of these days.
One of these days, do you know why people that did rain dances, do you know why they said that they worked?
Why is that?
Because they just danced until it rained. And that's what we're doing here with my guy, Grant Nelson. We're just going to dance until it rains. All right. It's going to happen. It's going to do it. Maybe, probably not. Who knows? It's going to happen. Okay. Lock it in. Cam in the live chat. Holloway could have upside if he remembers the ball is supposed to go in the hoop, especially for 3. We're going to get to Holloway here in a sec. Mike, I'll start with you. Auburn playing even a bigger rotation here on this side, which makes it hard to pin it down. Even though you look at Brooms, if you want to chase that game log, I wouldn't blame you. Yeah, I mean.
A lot of guys.
It makes
you got to sort through.
Like Broom makes. I want to just be all over that, even at 9.3. It's not even the price king. We hit on that earlier.
But, yeah, that's weird.
but yeah, Mike, why don't you start with Holloway and then go from there with Auburn?
Yeah. So Cam, I mean, you're right. Problem is with Holloway is him and Trey Donaldson just split the minutes, right? So, he's a fantastic player though when his game's on, obviously. So, high shot rate, 27%. 25% assist rate. I'm taking 133 threes on the season. So, he gets them up, man. 4,800, that price tag, man, it feels like that $500 too expensive for me. Playing, when the guy doesn't play more than 22 minutes at 5K, like, oh, man.
Does anyone on this team play more than 22 minutes?
No, barely.
Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, so I mean, like the Trey Donaldson, the Aiden Holloway deal, like Donaldson's obviously been playing well, I should say, for his for his minute allotment. Going back to back in the 20s here, but I don't see a reason why you would need to go to Trey Donaldson at 5,200. Really, for me, guys, I mean, Janai Broom, I mean, he's 9,300, and are we starting to see no, we're not, because he just played 25 minutes last game. It was 91-77, but we saw 34 the other day at Mississippi State, so we had some hope. But, of course, he only delivered 33 fantasy points in that one and then proceeded to go for 50 in 24 minutes against Vanderbilt and then nearly 43 in 25 minutes at Ole Miss. He had a great game last time against these guys, 25-14. I was on him almost on the quali with him that night. I think I finished like 9th or 10th in the big jam that night as well. So Janai Broom, another 25-15 is certainly in the realm of possibility in this game. They don't really have anybody that can guard him, so definitely like going to him. The problem with going to him is who the hell can you – I mean, you're going to have to play one value, like super value play, and then even another guy that you're not that comfortable with, probably in the high 4K or the low 5K to really get it right on this guy. So, yeah, I mean, for me, man, it's kind of Janai Broom or just kind of walk away, Eric. Like, are you touching any of these other guys? I mean, Jalen Williams, Chad Baker-Mazara, any of them?
I think you can make a case for him, right? Like with Jalen Williams in particular, like, I mean, you're getting an incredible, like almost 3K $2,700 to be exact. And I kind of dig it from a tournament perspective, right? Like his rates are super solid across the board, right? Like he's in the low 20s for usage, for shot, for rebound, 16% assist rate, which you like for a big man, chips in a block at 2% there. And he doesn't take a ton of threes, but he shoots well enough, 40% from downtown, right? So like, the thing that kind of stands out here in addition to the salary relief is he's actually like the only guy that's north of 25 minutes pretty consistently on this team, right? So like, if we're saying this is the game to get into, the guy who's on the floor the most for the Auburn side is at least like worthy of consideration, right? The other name that you mentioned, Chad Baker-Mazara, even more salary relief, in that low 6K range. Obviously, he's playing the guard position, so he's not a direct pivot off of Broom. But I think this game in particular is one that kind of sets up well for him, right? Like he's a guy that shoots threes. He can chip in some rebounds and some assists. 17% rates in both of those regards. The problem is really coming off that 32 spot. Like his price has crept up, right? Like he went up $900 from the last time he was out there. Another guy where we're just going to talk about needing to get minutes on Auburn. It hurts my soul that this is the world that we live in, but we are here now. Like I'd consider it, as kind of an interesting way to get into this game. But like, I mean, you're really trying to get cute with Baker-Mazara. I mean, Broom is the clear play. If you want to pivot off that, I would lean towards Williams. But I mean, it's just such a minefield with this Auburn side.
Mike, you were asking earlier, are we really going to do it? Yes, we're really going to do this in 9.3 with Broom. Like I think you've got to if you're going to touch this side, like it's got to be Broom.
You're gonna have to find 12 fantasy points under 4,500, my friend.
Is that a challenge, sir?
It's a challenge, man. Hey, Sam the Sniper.
Hey, we must be talking about Auburn.
Oops, man. Say Auburn 3 times.
The radar went off.
My guy's got the radar.
The bad signal. The cat signal, I guess, if you will. The tigers.
Those are cats.
Nice. All right. Thank you very much. But Sam the Sniper, always good to see you there. Sam, thanks for shouting us out there. Do your part, just like Samuel the Sniper and Cam and Mama Rocks and who else was in there already tonight? Scott and Nape.
Yeah, Nape's up here taking glamour shots.
No, it's this one. It's the 2. No, right there. Do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Do it. Send us your glamour shot. No, don't do that. But like and subscribe anyway. Or hey, you can. I'm a glamour shot fan. If you have the background with like the stars behind you,
yeah,
like,
now we're talking some real like JC Penney caliber shit.
Yes. If you got that, I want to see it for sure.
Jeez. Welcome back, Eric.
Yeah, good to have you back.
So good to be back.
Yes. There we go. All right, before we move on, we're going to move on to Wisconsin and Michigan, but let's hit this last Sam the Sniper comment first. Auburn's going to win this game tomorrow, especially at home. Our locker room and culture is just together. Bama, they got players getting suspended and mad at each other. We ain't the same. I love it. And if I ever need anybody to talk me up about anything, I'm going to get Sam the Sniper to talk me up the way he talks up Auburn. I love it. I love this.
And dude, the jungle, like, underrated, difficult environment to play in, right? Like, I feel like there are a few other gyms that get some love in terms of tough home environments or tough road environments for the opponents. But man, Auburn, like, nobody wants to go into that gym.
Mike, you said you'd give the 3 points there and take Auburn earlier. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. No. The ball pressure is going to be tough, man. Foul trouble is not a thing for Auburn. They're just like, hey, get out here. Like, we're. I know you played only 7 minutes, but tonight you're playing 16.
Dude, that's why it's like
foul.
They're letting their guys play through fouls, and still they're only getting 17 minutes a game. Just doesn't matter. Make sense.
Doesn't even matter. Appreciate that, Samuel the Sniper. Keep them coming as we move on now to Wisconsin as 7-point favorites on the road at Michigan. 148-point total here. Wisconsin 78 and Michigan 71 on the implied totals. Neither of these teams get up and down like we would like them to. However, we do like the size of the rotations here on these teams from a DFS perspective. So, Mike, gonna go to you first with the Badgers here. 9th offensive efficiency, 32nd in defensive efficiency, 317 tempo, which is okay because we know that it's about 8 cats, and it's going to be really easy to pick who we want in this matchup.
Yeah, so for DFS purposes, you see a team 317th in tempo, and you're thinking implied to score 78 points. Wait, Michigan's only 205th in tempo? Like, how does this all compute? Well, it's because Wisconsin is 9th in offensive efficiency, and Michigan is god-awful defensively, especially in Big Ten play where they're giving up 115 points per 100 possessions. So when you have an elite offense like Wisconsin, who is a great three-point shooting team, and a porous Michigan defense, that mixes up to be a very efficient day from the field for Wisconsin. So they will be getting there with not as many possessions, but you know the guys that are going to be on the floor. I mean, 299th in bench minutes. You know the guys on the floor on both sides of the ball, which you love. I think for Wisconsin, like Stephen Crowell at 7,300, just so interesting on the road here. He has not been great. I know he's been battling some minor injuries. Shot rate's kind of come down. It's down to 18%, but still a massive rebounding rate. He's a guy that can knock down 3-pointers. This is just such a bad Michigan defense that, all of these guys really have 5x upside in this spot. I think I'm using this team more as a one-off scenario. Stephen Crowell for tournaments, I find him very interesting. I just don't know that a lot of people will get to him at 7,300 cards, man. They're cheap. Mainly AJ Storr and Chucky Hepburn. So AJ Storr, we know the deal, right? The usage rate's insane. He's, if he's on the floor, he's just going to take a ton of shots. Has basically 6x upside, maybe even 7x upside if his shot is going down. So AJ Storr at 6,300. I'll have him in tournaments. You can't play him at all in cash games because he is obviously shot dependent, 1, and 2. Sometimes he gets his minutes cut. Sometimes he'll only be out there for 24 or 25 minutes. He doesn't do much else. Like there's just, he'll grab rebounds every now and then, but he's not going to create for others. He's not a strong defensive player. So AJ Storr at 6,300 in line for tournaments. But I think my favorite play on this Wisconsin side is going to be Chucky Hepburn. He is 5,900, coming off a 24 and a 28 piece. Man, like his rates have come down over the last couple of weeks. Not shooting the ball great, especially from 3 this year. 25% on 71 attempts. A very volatile player, much like AJ Storr. But when these guys are on, both of them can carry your DFS lineups. So Chucky Hepburn, price adjusted at 5,900, a chance to give you a 28 to 30 piece against this defense. I like it. So I'm going to be taking shots on both of these guys. Obviously, Hepburn gives you that $400 savings. I don't think we can get to Klesmit. I don't really know why he's priced at 5,900. He's not done anything lately, just still being carried by that 34 he had a few weeks ago. I mean, talk about a guy real shot dependent. He's shooting 42% from 3, but that's really all he does. I'm not going to use him, not even as a stacking partner. Like there's just only if he was like sub 4,600 would I even think about using Klesmit. So for me, Chucky Hepburn, probably price adjusted my favorite play. AJ Storr after that, and then Stephen Crowell. I find him just so interesting for tournaments. Tyler Wall's $500 more. Eric, what are you gonna do with Tyler Wall at that price, man? Like the pricing's kind of weird with these guys. We're not used to there being such a spread out, between all of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're gushing over all these Badgers, and we we noticeably leave out Tyler Wall. I think him going up to 7.8K has a lot to do with that, right? Like a
Right?
guy that
Like,
we
where
were,
that
we
came
were
from?
pretty happy to fire up in the 6Ks, now going up almost $2,000. I think because of that significant price increase, like I don't know if anyone's going to go there, right? Like save $500 and go to Crawl, save significantly more money and get to Store or Hepburn, right? Like, you know, there there are a lot of strong cases to play Badgers not named Wall, and because of that, he's going to be overlooked. But like, I think he can get there, right? Like, yes, he has to get closer to a ceiling game, like we saw him putting up that 46 in his last game out, but like he's got everything you're looking for in terms of his rates. 25% rebounding is fantastic. He assists the ball well for a forward, 12% in that regard. Chips in and dips in some blocks and some steals, 3 and 2% in those categories, right? So like, a guy that can get into the mid 40s, on a team that's pushing 80 in terms of their team total, that's going to be overlooked. Like that's kind of a formula for a tournament play that's going to be on my radar, right? So don't mind spending up a little bit and getting weird with Wall.
I love me some alliteration there for sure. Weird with Wall. I'm gonna go back up real quick to Saban Sniper one more time on Auburn, saying his thought is that Bama's playing 4 guards tomorrow with Grant at the 5, which makes it easy to play Williams and Broom against Bama, and the minutes are actually good. I mean, yeah, makes sense there. And then
Williams season for tournaments in that mid tier.
Crowell and Cam's comment there, just hit on his Crowell rebound game after dealing with Edie last game and letting Wall work too. Yeah, it could be coming. You like the 33% rebound rate there that Crowell has for sure. So yeah, good shout there, Cam. Moving on to Michigan here, 9-man rotation here. I don't think it's going the way. It's not going the way. I'll just say that, Eric. I mean, it's not going. It's not going.
Man,
it's not going for Michigan.
I've got Juwan Howard in the hot dog suit going like we're all trying to find out who did this here. Oh man, these Wolverines. I mean, look, all joking aside, right? Like with Michigan, we talked about this Wisconsin side. They're going to beat you, inside out, right? Like I think with Wisconsin, struggling to defend the 2 ball, like that takes me to the 2 bigs here for the Wolverines. It starts with Kamwa, obviously 7.4K, like pretty solid for a guy that is relatively recently or relatively consistently reaching 35, 40-point tournament upside, right? Like the rates across the board are a lot to like here, especially his 16% assist rate as a forward. Love it when you can see these big men dishing out those dimes. And, just with how pricing falls on this slate overall, like I don't think you're going to see a lot of people get into a mid 7K Kamwa. So don't mind going there to create create a little bit of leverage, especially off of another forward here that I think is probably going to be a bit more popular. And that's Terrace Reed, 6.1K. Like I think most people are going to take, that, 1K, $1,200 savings and feel pretty happy about it. Much like Wall on the other side of this game, Reed's coming in off of a ceiling game of his own, put up a 41 spot his last time out. Unlike Wall, his price went up $100 for that instead of almost 2K. So like, I mean, the talent is obviously there. Consistency has really been where he's lacking, but with the box score watchers, people loving to chase in fantasy, I think Reed is going to be popular. If he gets to a ceiling again, I mean, he can smash 6K. And I think Wisconsin, they're just going to generally have a hard time with him on the block, with him cleaning up the glass. I think you can kind of make a similar case for both him and for Kamwa, but I'm kind of erring on the side of taking the savings there, which I think will be a pretty popular opinion. So Mike, that is the front court. Anyone catching your eye up and down the rest of this roster, or specifically on the back court?
Yeah, I think we had a comment in here a little bit earlier, a second ago. Oh, Mama Rock's coming through, talking about Dougie McBuckets too cheap. Yeah, he's too cheap, man. He's 6,100, which means he's probably going to be just 30-40%, and it's going to be hard to get off of him. I mean, it's hard when you get a guy at 6,100 that has this type of usage rate, this type of shot rate, this type of assist rate. Just very, very hard. It's going to be hard not to play McDaniel and Reed together, and hard to not run it back with either one of AJ Storr or Chucky Hepburn. I mean, you were just living in the mid-tier right there, and you're feeling good three spots in if you start your lineup that way. So, kind of you were making the point earlier about Commonwealth where it's, all these guys where you have to pay a little bit more, right? This reminds me of the Wake Forest game where all these guys were the mid-6, right? And you just live in there, which makes getting to the guys that are 7,400, 7,300, 7,800 makes it tougher, right? Because then you have to sacrifice one of these 6K guys and play somebody down in the 4,800 range and the 5K range, and then you get into a roller coaster ride. So, yeah, I fully expect Doug McDaniel and Terrence Reed to be popular for tournaments. I kind of oddly find like Namari Burnett and Terrence Williams semi-interesting as stacking partners. Now, Burnett has not done much recently, but, I mean, we know that these guys are getting so many minutes. I mean, Michigan just runs their guys into the ground as well. They played 33 minutes last game. Obviously, Terrence Reed and Kamala getting a lot of the action, and Doug McDaniel. So it doesn't leave a ton for Namari Burnett, but only shot 1 for 6 from three. He's taken 6 threes in the last 3 straight games. So somebody that's playing mid-30s minutes, that's shooting 6 threes, that is decent enough on the boards for a guard, is a really, really good defensive player. I feel like he's kind of sneaky for tournaments. So if you want to, maybe get to a second or third piece and be different, I feel like Namari Burnett certainly on that radar because no one's going to play him. Same thing with Terrence Williams. You're kind of getting him similar, almost a similar deal. I mean, 2 for 10 in the last game, 0 for 5 from 3, played 30 minutes, playing almost 34 minutes on the season. I mean, he's flashed for 30 fantasy points. Why not, when there's 800 teams in the Big Jam, take at least one shot to see if either a Terrence Williams or a Namari Burnett can kind of be that separator, because everyone's going to go to McDaniel and Reed. And then obviously if to be different and keep that usage, you would go to Kamala instead of going the other way where you get the sub 5% plays in Namari Burnett and Doug McDaniel. Now the odds of them hitting, right? Like those aren't high, but when you do hit it, you're especially on these type of slates where value is so tough to find. A 5,500 player going off for 5 or 6x is incredibly valuable if we don't get like some kind of like chalk last minute injury before the slate locks or during the slate. So I find those two guys kind of interesting, but this game as a whole, man, like it feels like we're gonna get some nice value points per dollar wise.
Yeah, a game with a 148 point, projected total here, and not a soul over 7,800. Like this is like if you can find it, if you can hop on the right value in each of these games, even if you wanted to stack this one up even a 1-1 or something like that, I could understand doing it with this total, but it's just so difficult. One of these guys is going to go off on each one of these sides, right? How do you figure it out? But Wall, again, like I really like Wall on the Wisconsin side, even at that price. And then, Doug, man, Mama Rocks. Do you think Doug's a little too cheap? Is that right? I mean, it's feels okay. It feels like a good place for Doug to be, right?
He's just a mess right now. Like with all the other stuff going on. But I mean, 32, 27, 25, and 3 of the last 4. I mean, he's way too cheap. So he's going to be 40-50% owned.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Last showcase game, 2 down, 1 to go. Nebraska. Those are Cornhuskers on the road at Northwestern. The home team 3-point favorites, a 147 point implied total. couple of teams hovering around those mid 70s, so we should be able to get some fantasy points out of this game. And one side plays like this many, their bench is this long. It's like maybe like if you could get even closer, can we zoom in on how small that the Northwestern bench is? It's like that. It's like that. Nebraska, not so much. Let's start there, Mike. Good basketball team here. 7-man rotation. It just feels like these two teams coming together just feels right for some fantasy points.
Yeah, man, both defenses getting shredded, my man. So Northwestern 13th in the Big Ten, giving up 115 points per 100 possessions, getting crushed inside and outside like Michigan. They're giving up 58% assist rate. So very, very stackable side on the Nebraska side. Nebraska playing a lot of guys early in the season. As we've gotten into the last couple of games, they've kind of shrunk it down to 7-8 guys. But sometimes those 6, 7, 8 guys can play 20 to 20, like CJ Wilcher, sometimes we see Hoiberg, up in the 20-minute mark, which, it's a whole nother deal. Obviously, if Eli Rice is back in, that'll add another guy to the rotation. He's been out. So kind of a wonky situation within Northwestern. It's much, much clearer. What is clear on the Nebraska side is Rienk Mast. He's 8K, and he's pretty good at basketball. Missouri Valley was an awesome player there coming over to Nebraska and has got them currently in the tournament at this 8K price tag. Obviously, he deserves it. He's been putting up 37s, 35s. Had him on that 60 piece a couple of weeks ago. So high usage rate, high rebound rate, 20% assist rate, shooting 36% from three. There's not a lot this guy can't do offensively. My favorite tournament play from this side is probably Bryce Williams. We got completely burned by him the other day, coming off the 14 spot. But at 6,400, you're not going to find a lot of guys carrying a 23% usage and shot rate, a 20% rebounding rate, an 18% assist rate, 3% block rate, a 2% steal rate, and shooting nearly 40% from three. So I'll be going right back to the well with Bryce Williams at 6,400. He has 30 to 35, 36, 37, 40 fantasy point upside. This is a Northwestern team not playing a ton of defense, and we're scheduled to get close to 147 in this one. He's also a guy that plays a lot of minutes. So Bryce Williams, 6,400. Definitely like him because we know a lot of people are going to get in on this Nebraska side on Juwan Gary and Tominaga. So Gary at 6K, coming off the 34 piece. Both of these guys severely underpriced last time out, and just coming off the injury a couple of games back now, and it's like things haven't changed. He will be 7K probably by the next slate. So a guy that can get a double-double, that has high defensive metrics, that actually takes threes, even though he doesn't make many. But, hey, he's shooting them right, and he'll knock them down every now and then. So definitely like Juwan Gary at 6K, a lot more than Tominaga, man. Like, Eric, dude, like, come on. I mean, we missed the train the other day. Can you jump on the train at 5,700, dude?
Man, I mean, look, if you haven't pieced it together yet, I'm playing the role of talking about the guys that are coming off their absolute ceiling games, and that is the case with Tominaga. He put up 41 points, sitting at sub 5K on that last slate.
Yeah, ridiculous.
If you sprinkled him in anywhere, you probably got a little extra bankroll to speculate on tomorrow's slate with.
Yeah.
Now he's back up to 5.7K. Another guy that's super shot dependent, 28% shot rate. But like we talked about in some of the earlier players that we covered, in this mid 5Ks, like you don't hate it too much. Granted, 5.7 is closer to the high range there. But I mean, look, like we'll see it from time to time. 41% or 41 points in that last game. He's taken 124 threes. So like if he's filling it up, there's definitely a chance that he can pay this off once again. But I mean, if that shot doesn't get going, like he is in legitimate doubt and concern of his minutes getting cut, right? Like,
yeah,
the boom's there, the bust is there. All this is to put it differently. Another guy that you can consider for tournaments, but I feel like you're taking a bit of extra risk with him because I think people are going to chase that 41 from his last game.
Well, they're not chasing the 5 that he had the game prior to that. So I don't know. I mean, it's one or the other, and it's sort of hard to pick on any given
5
night
or 41. Like what?
What are you going to get here? We talked about floors and ceilings. Hard to hop in there, and of course the big jump in price because of the ceiling game. So let's talk about somebody, Mike, that you know. I love talking about. Of course, it's Northwestern with who, Mike. You know who, our guy.
It's Boo Booey.
It's Boo
Yeah,
Booey.
it's Boo Booey at 8,900, and wow, that's 8,900 Boo Booey. That's a lot, but is it 45, 47, 35, 50? I mean, dude, this guy is a legend. Like, they're going to retire his jersey. He's going to get them back into the NCAA tournament. I think it's for the 4th time in school history and the first time ever they're going to be going back to back. It's just crazy. They almost beat Purdue twice this year. They just own Purdue. And this guy is just so awesome. And watching Coach Collins get tossed at the end of that game, that was beautiful. But just outstanding usage, outstanding shot rate, outstanding assist rate, outstanding 3-point shot. The question is, how do you get to them? How do you get to the guys that are at the top of the 8K level? You're going to have to nail a couple of value pieces is how you do it. So I'm looking at some of the guys down in the mid-6, of course. So Ty Berry at 6,100. Man, we just talked about Tominaga. Like, this guy is a boom-bust play like Tominaga, but they are completely different players. Tominaga has to shoot his way there. Ty Berry has to literally have everything else go right for him. And sometimes it does to hit these, like, ridiculous 35 and 40 fantasy point ceilings. Hitting all 8 of his shots and then getting, like, 3 steals, 10 rebounds, and just, like, 2 blocks, getting, like, 5 assists, and that's how he gets up there. So, Ty Berry, a little interest in him. I think Ryan Langborn for cash especially. I mean, it just feels like a plug-and-play option at 6,300. A 24, 28, 26, 24, 36. Like, he's going to play high 30s minutes, shoots a ton of three-pointers. His addition and Brooks Barnheiser's growth have been the 2 main reasons. Obviously, Boo Booey, right? But you got to have some pieces to go with them. Him coming over from Princeton, and we saw old Princeton, right, Jay, last year in the NCAA tournament. He was sharp there. He's looked even better this year. So Ryan Langborn at 6,300 for cash is certainly in play for sure. You got something you want there, Jay? You want a little piece of that?
Hold on. Why are you bringing up old stuff? I even took that across the chin on my own last time out when we got the question.
Yeah, you did.
I'm still taking them. I don't care. I'm still going Arizona this year. I don't even care. Maybe I should.
That's funny. Eric, what do you think about Barnhizer, man?
I mean, there's a lot of similar things that you can say with Barnhizer as you just did with Langborn, right? Like super steady cash play type of option. I mean, he's gonna be out there like 38 to 40 minutes pretty much every single night. The pricing is kind of tricky. You're not getting a ton of relief moving down off of Bowie, right? You're saving $800, but also with Barnhizer up over 8K, like it's kind of hard for him to, really get to the upside you need in tournaments, right? So like he kind of feels like he's in a bit of a no man's land, right? Like, yeah, he's a pivot off of Bowie. I don't know how popular Bowie is going to be. I don't know if you're creating a ton of leverage by making that pivot. And then in making it, like, I don't know if you get the upside that you're really looking for in a tournament context. So you're out there, playing a double up, playing a single entry. I think Barnhizer is a fine choice, but you're trying to ship a number with a comma in it, and I don't know if he's the way to go.
We do like commas. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of commas. Like,
yeah,
can confirm.
Multiple would be great too. Like
preferred way.
More than one comma would be fantastic. But yeah, I totally get that on Barnhizer. But 8.1 is a lot. And Boo Booey, like you said, is 8,900 too much? Dang, he's just such a good ball player. Love that guy. Love it. Great game with the great name. Shout out to the guys there for closing out that third showcase game. Moving on to the tiers now. As we do that, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Show your broskies and basketball up here on screen some love. Follow us on the socials at Get Green Screens, at One and Done CBB over on Twitter for the show page. You see all of our handles up on the screen. Add the real Napier as well, who you see on the socials and the Sunday shows and every once in a while mixed in. That's our guy. That's our guy. And if Nape, if you're still up, just give me a little this one more time. If you haven't, you might have already gone. You had, big day at work.
Utility
man at the RJ, the real job. So if you did go to sleep already, that's cool. We understand. Didn't want to stay up late, little one and done after dark. But if you are up, and even if you're not Nape C Hustle, drop it. Show us some love in that live chat, and by hitting those like and subscribe buttons and the notification bells. Do it all. You'll feel better in the morning when you wake up. You're just gonna be one and done. Oh, it's great.
Look at there he is.
I did. There he is.
Dang, my guy's dreaming about heating it up.
Why not? Why not? That's what we do.
Snake Eyes getting in on the party.
Let's go, Snake Eyes. Let's go. Dang,
back,
some lightning bolts.
Good stuff. Love a good lightning bolt mixed in there too. Good stuff. All right, that closes out the showcase games. Moving on to the old famous tears, and not the tears that Texas Longhorn fans are crying tonight after losing at home to Iowa State. Rodney Terry. God, that's okay. I almost made it the whole show. Almost the 57 minute mark here, where I made it without almost cussing Rodney Terry out on the show. It's okay. It's okay. Let's move to the high tier now. Eric, gonna go first with you. I swear to God, follow the rules. You too, okay? There are rules to be followed. One play and one fade. Starting with our guy Eric. Go ahead. High tier.
I will follow the rules, sir, and Good. I'll follow the prompt that you gave to the chat. I believe you said do it all, and that reminds me of a guy named Judah Mintz. My guy absolutely stuffs the stat sheet every single night. His rates are insane. 30% usage, 26% shot, 28% assist. He chips in at 4% steal. Guy gets to the free throw line a ton. And he's doing all of this against the Louisville defense. Basically every minute that he's out on the floor in this game, he is going to be contributing to his fantasy output. Love him at 8.4K. My fade, the aforementioned Price King, Quincy Olivari, coming in at 9.4K. I mean, the price is just insane. It definitely shot up after the old 71 spot against DePaul. Bad news, not playing DePaul tonight. Villanova should be a much tougher out. I mean, this is a guy that, A, we never want to chase, and B, just his standard of play is one that should have him priced at 7K, sub 7K. So 9.4K is just wild. I have to call that out. I don't know how many people are going to click that name, but public service announcement: do not play Quincy Olivari on tomorrow's 71.
I'm going to set the over under on percentage for Olivari at 3.5. Are you under? You're under 3.5?
Yeah, I guarantee he's 1%.
I will be under 3.5. There are some sims out there that are going to spit him out 4 or 5%.
No way. He's 1%. He might be sub 1. Yeah, there's just no way.
If he's sub 1%,
this is Villanova, guys.
Can he get
this
60?
is a great defense he's going up against.
So hey, if you want to get different,
yeah.
If you're playing me in the Big Jam, please roster Quincy Olivari.
Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way,
Cam says under 3.5 for sure.
Yeah. You're right. And by the way, it's another pull-up jumper, not the Big Jam. I misspoke at the top of the show. No. That's on me. I'm going to wear that one right here.
I believe there are rules here, sir.
That one. There are rules here, and I'm going to follow them with my play and fade in the high tier. I'm going to go to Eric Dixon. We're not playing Olivari on the Xavier side in that game, but I think we should smash Dixon at 7.6 big against Xavier. He's not going to be owned like Tolu, Mast, Wall, Kamwa. I think that Dixon is just a great play. Villanova's trying to win now. Dixon's going to be a big part of that. So we're going to play Dixon, and we are going to fade. This pains me to say it. Pains me to say it, but we're going to fade Baylor Shireman. He's been such a great player all year long, but I do not like paying for guys near or at the peak of their price if they're not named Zach Edey. And Shireman only had 32 at home against the Friars last time, so I'm fading Shireman. Mike, I'm coming to you just with my fingers crossed here.
One play.
My fingers crossed that you follow the rules one time. One play and one fade. Go.
All right. I'll play my Aggie, Wade Taylor, 8,700 at Missouri. I think it's pretty simple. Missouri gives up a lot of fantasy points. Wade Taylor, very good at shooting the basketball. So that should mean he should go at least 4X in this spot. I mean, it's set up. I mean, the guy's gone 47, 50 before, 56 against Arkansas, like on January 16th. So there's no reason he shouldn't absolutely shred Missouri. Aggies kind of walking the line right now at a big win over Florida. But for a team that was ranked in the top 20, they are kind of flirting with disaster here. So I feel like Wade Taylor's going to have a huge game. And then Tamar Bates on the other side of this game, he's still so overpriced. It's crazy. Like, we're getting these overreaction pricing, man, from I don't know what's up with this algorithm. Like, it's just so shot dependent. I think he was on my fade the other day. Like, I'm not gonna, until he's 6K, I'm not gonna pay this price tag for him. And the guy's averaging 20 fantasy points on the year. I know he plays a pile of minutes. I can't do this when really it comes down to him knocking down his 3-point shot and getting to the free throw line. So no Tabar Bates for me. That's my fade.
I was pausing for a second because I totally expected you to run down like 3 more guys.
I'm following the rules.
Proud of you. Proud of you. Proud of Mama Rocks for being in that live chat again. Saying even Dingle put up a season high versus DePaul. Yes, he did. This is not DePaul this time out, so it's going to be tough.
I think Jordan Dingle was in our plays from the low tier last night.
That's correct.
Which is why he was on my lineup.
Is correct. We're not quite to the low tier yet, though. Let's go down to the old mid tier, and I'm going to go to Eric the Blue again.
Start us off with the mid-tier picks.
Man, I will start with our guy Carrington, Carlton Carrington, 6.7K. We've been going to this well off and on over the course of the season, and it's paid off sometimes, and it's not gone so well in others. I mean, look, the volatility is something that you have to navigate. But NC State, like, they tend to give up pretty big games to guards, right? So, like, you know, now that Jay is out of the way, it's really between him and Leggett that you're kind of having to make a decision between.
Yes.
I will err on the side of Carrington because I think that ultimately he's the one that has a little bit more upside. And then for my fade, once again, one of Jay's favorites. Triple J here for Tennessee. I mean, like, we missed that boom game against Kentucky's defense, right? Like, big price increase. And at 6.8K, like, I'm ready to just kind of ride this one out until we see several hundred dollars come off of his price tag. I'm not going to go out and chase that 40 spot that he put up there. So I'll fade Triple J here for the Vols.
Fading, that's not Double J. That's not JEFFJARRETT, former Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett. No, that's Triple J. That's Josiah Jordan James.
Correct.
That you're fading. Just like My headphones faded out there, and then you probably heard that what sounded like a volcano and a hurricane and everything going on at the same time over here. So my apologies for the audio there while Eric was trying to tell you about Carrington. But yeah, let me go here to my playing fade here. I'm gonna go Adam Bona, 7.2K. Yeah, UCLA hasn't been great. Bona's been up and down, but every time out, we know he has a 35 to 40 point upside. So yeah, like Bona here in the mid. This is high. This is the high end of the mid tier, right? Like we're right
Just
at the
barely.
right at the top of there, right there. So we'll still do it though. But then Spencer Jones is my fade here, 6,200 for Stanford. The old trees are just too balanced. You know, I can't ever get past the damn mascot, the tree. Like what's the name of the tree?
The Cardinal. I don't
So like
I don't know the name of the tree.
Terry
Does
the
the tree have a name?
Terry the tree. I'm sure he has a
It's
name.
got to be like Piney or something.
I'm sure he has a name. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I am on that side of the game. I'm gonna take Bona. I'm playing Bona, and I am fading Spencer Jones in that matchup. Mike, please save me here in the mid tier and give us your play and your fade. Well, even though it says, Mama Rock's saying, no, Jay, give us more Mike. Okay, I see how it is.
Look, Jay, when the cat's away, the mice will play. All right, me and Mike will just keep firing off plays and fades anytime.
Yeah, you missed it, Jay. Your boy Eric over here was talking about. Okay, I won't
do
know.
nothing.
All right. I'll go with Mark Mitchell here, the forward from Duke, man. 6,800 playing Notre Dame. Feels like the big game's coming. He's playing massive minutes. Already blasted Notre Dame for 45.5. So, yeah, I'll take another 35 minutes against Notre Dame here at home. I'll be fading basically everything on Georgia. I'm just tired of Georgia. Sorry, Mama Rocks. Noah Thomason, 5,700. They're at Mississippi State. I just can't do it. It's so volatile here. It's spread out. Now you got Melendez kind of involved now. Luke Haynes, a really nice player. So they just have there's so many options they can go to, and they tend to play a decent amount of guys, and it's hard for guys to get, consolidated minutes. So not really interested in anybody on the Georgia side for sure. So far I'm sticking with the rules.
Yeah, well, keep it up, sir. Yeah,
Snake Eyes, yeah.
Snake Eyes saying redwood tree. According to the search engine here, it's just the Stanford tree is the Stanford band's mascot and the unofficial mascot of Stanford University. So he's not. It's Cardinal is not the tree's name. Stanford Wood, is that right, Mama Rocks? Stanford Wood. We're gonna need to get a.
We need to kick off like an investigative episode of One and Done to figure out this tree's name.
The tree's name is Cardinal.
I refuse. I'm gonna forever call it Stanford Wood.
I mean,
because
it clearly should be its name. If it's not,
it absolutely should be Stanford Wood. But let's move on now to the old low tier here, Eric. What do you got?
Oh man, this low tier is gross. Like I mentioned at the very top of the show, really hoping that we get some value to open up. I'll go with Logan Imes here. IMS. 3.9K for Notre Dame. It's you're kind of hedging the downside with someone that is priced at this level, right? Sub 4K. We're talking about a guy that got the start in the last two games. He played 30 minutes in both. So, you can do worse for a sub 4K guy. He dropped 14 and 16 in those two games. I mean, the matchup obviously isn't great at Duke in this one, but at 3.9K, like he's a guy that can give you a ton of flexibility in terms of how you approach the rest of your roster. Jay, staying down here in the low tier, you dumpster diving with me? You going sub 4K?
Oh, I'm going even lower. I'm going even lower than
low.
3.9. I'm
Can
going
you
down
get that
to
low?
3.8. Hey, the only time I set the bar low is when I'm playing limbo. Okay, that's the only time I set the bar low is when I'm doing limbo. I'm setting it high for Brendan Housen at 3.6K. The Villanova, easy for me to say, guard against Xavier, earning more time on the court with his shooting, shoots 39% from three, and Villanova is just thirsty for offense, and Housen shooting it at that clip, give it to him. Had played 23 minutes and had 17 fantasy points against the Providence Friars last game. I think this is a guy that's going to be – I think he's not going to be this cheap for very much longer, and I'm hopping on it. I'm hopping on Housen at 3,600. Mike, I have a sneaking suspicion the rule following is going to come to an end. However, I'm going to pass it to you anyway. What do you think about the low tier?
Don't mess this up. Just one play. Curtis Williams, the guard forward from Louisville at 4,900 at Syracuse. We're going to probably need Sky Clark out again because we need his usage out. Played 30 minutes last game. We played this guy about a month ago. Louisville's a mess. I don't know why they're just not giving him 30 minutes tonight. Anyway, we're still trying to jam Mike James in there for 40 minutes, but a guy that can go for 4X, which is awesome on this slate. So he's in the value pool. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think I passed my test, maybe, but can I mention maybe just one guy, maybe two?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so because we're in the dumpster, right, and because we only picked one play each in the mid tier, had to mention that value, even though we break these down, right, 7,500 or more for high, we do the mid, 5,100, 7,400, and everybody under that's value plays. Justin Moore at 5,300. I mean, guys, like, I think we're all on board at some point, right? At some point, this has to happen. It's not for lack of effort. I mean, 2 for 8, 25 minutes, but the game was a blowout. Like, he would have played 35 minutes. But man, like, you start to see it now. It's like 14, 20, 17, 11, 22. But it's coming. Like, the 35 is coming, and we want to jump on it. So using him as a kind of a value play, obviously at 5,300. And then I think it's in the same spot, basically, because these guys just played each other, and we just tried to make it happen in this ugly game they just played. Jaden Pierre, another guy that this guy's playing a pile of minutes, 38 minutes. He's 2 for 13. He has to shoot the ball for this team to have any chance. 0 for 8 from 3. You love that at 5,200. Obviously not the 0 for, but you love that he shot 8 threes. Has a high assist rate, over 20%. Can chip out a steal every now and then. So these two guys, like, these might not be our quintessential like under sub 5K value picks, but getting these guys in your lineup at 53 and 5,200, I think we would all agree makes getting to those 7,100, those 6,800 guys a lot easier.
It does, and just because you're giving that sort of showing that love to the breadheads, I'm not going to censure you. No, what is it called when the congressman gets like kicked out or whatever? Like,
oh, we're going. It's one and done after dark political chat.
Yeah, political. Yeah, that's a different show. What were you going to say, Eric?
Man, who was not showing me love on the last slate? Justin Moore and Jaden Pierre. I think I was about 100% across the two of them. I had both of them together in a lot of places. So, I mean, that 0 for 8 hurts on the last slate. But I mean, if he's going to keep chucking at this price tag, I'll go right back to the well.
How many guys are going to find at these price tags that are this involved in their offense and this important to their teams that are on the bubble? You're just not. So, I mean, 20 is good enough. But they have 30, 35. So
just dance till it rains. That's all I'll say. Just dance till it rains. Good stuff there in the low. Oh, yeah. Okay, we can do that one.
Hey.
All right. That's enough with the tiers. No more tears. Let's get to the world famous Core Four and more. We're going to give you the Core Four for our cash games, and then, of course, the tournament core as well. Right there, take that swig of that the soft beverage
product, ice cold cherry coke.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Cash game Core Four brought to you by Cherry Coke and drroto.com. Go ahead and give us the cash score for him, Mike.
All right. Judah Mintz for Syracuse. You just have to plug him in and move on with your cash games. I mean, he's great for tournaments too, but his floor is so high against Louisville. Mark Sears, we saw what he did against Auburn last time. Probably not my favorite tournament play, like going down to Strada that we talked about earlier, but for cash, should play 35 to 38 minutes. Going to take a bunch of shots. This game has 165-point total. Ryan Langborn from Northwestern, not a guy that we typically feature, but this is one of the higher totals, and it was in our showcase. We talked about how him and Brooks Barnheiser are really good cash plays. At 6,300, it feels like you just take your 25 fantasy points from Langborn and move on. And Logan Imes from Notre Dame, he's 3,900. Feels the most secure, 29 or 30 and 30 minutes the last two games starting. The matchup's tough, right? And the cash game, when you get to February, you will definitely take 3x. So for him to 3x, he only needs 11.5 fantasy points, and then you just move on with your lineup. So that's going to leave you with 57.75 to go out and get some of those mid-tier guys and maybe even play like a Justin Moore or a Jaden Pierre.
Jaden Pierre, exactly.
Dangerous.
What could go wrong?
Dangerous for cash games. Don't do that. But it leaves you some money for some of these other guys to get the mid-tier.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, don't do it in cash.
All right. Wrap us up, Mr. Eric the Blue here. Going to go to you this time for the old tournament core for a little bit more volatility here. Like the pricing in terms of the types of guys that we want to work into all of our lineups. And again, these core fours, it's not like saying you have to play those four, but these are guys that you should definitely build your lineups around. So, Eric, hit us with the tournament core four for the Wednesday slate.
Yeah, so if you were keeping score at home, you'll notice that Mike laced you up with a 4-pack of guards for his cash game core four. I'm gonna try to balance things out. I'm gonna go heavy on the forward side. Starts off with Janai Broom, right? Almost the price king, easily the most reliable piece in that Auburn game that we want to get into. Terrace Reed, we talked about. The Michigan big men should be set up for a good game, as their opponents giving up a ton of points from two. So like getting Reed at 6.1K. Mark Mitchell coming in off of an absolute smash game. So we will ride the wave there. And then finally, the lone guard of my core four, Bryce Williams, coming in off of a dud. So no one is going to be chasing him at 6.4K. Put these four together, leaves you 53.50 per player, but I think you're getting a lot of upside with these players. I think you're getting a fair amount of leverage too. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of people clicking these names tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can still use a couple of those cats in the low tier and then live in the high mids and fill out your lineup there with that tournament play. I'm really digging that a lot.
Just
fellas, what a show. 2 nights in a row. Good to have Eric back in the studio. Of course, make sure. Oh, yeah, 3 nights in a row for one and done. 2 DFS shows in a row. Can't forget about our guy at the Real Napier out there on a Sunday, going up on a Sunday with our guys, of course. Yeah, good to have Eric back in the studio. Let's go to the captain first. Just some captain's closing thoughts.
I just we have to pay attention. There was no late injury news today, but I mean, every other slate it feels like something's going to pop up. So that could really, really help us out. We just need that one guy, and even if it's a chalk value play, that just opens up the entire salary. You're like, I can play anybody. So just be on the lookout for that. Eric, you got any thoughts, my man, before we get out of here?
I mean, that's the storyline for the slate, right? Like trying to find value is going to be key. Obviously, if we have any late scratches, that is one way to get there. And for however much I wanted to poke fun at myself, playing guys like Justin Moore, Jaden Pierre, right? Like moving down from a 6K player to these guys that are in the mid to low 5Ks. Like, you do that a couple times and you open up just enough salary to get up to the guy that can lead your roster, right? So value will be key to the slate, but there's more than one way to skin that cat.
And one of those ways is to not play Benny Williams. Okay? Do not play Benny Williams.
Higher ownership, Benny Williams or Earl Vardy.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Mama Rocks, if you don't know. Benny Williams was walked from the team.
But no, I think Mama Rocks was in on it, and I think it was just at the right time from the DFS perspective because who's playing Benny Williams at 5,700 anyway. But either way, great show tonight. Just like Mama Rocks said in the live chat, wonderful show. Good luck tomorrow night, y'all. Good luck to everybody tomorrow night. Thank you to Ryan, Mama Rocks, Napesy Hustle, Cam, Scott Harris, who shipped that cash game. Way to go, Scott. We appreciate you hopping in to let us know that. Our guy Snake's Eyes. And, of course, when the Auburn bat signal goes up, the Auburn cat signal goes up, Samuel the Sniper comes to call in and hits the live chat. Good to see you in there. Sam,
Auburn
the Sniper. Yes. Not the one that they need, but the one that they deserve. And that's Samuel the Sniper bringing you that heat. Thanks for everybody being here tonight. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss the next time we're coming on. And, of course, follow us on the socials, at One and Done CBB on X. All the fires coming out there. Hit those notification bells. Hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, we appreciate you. Let's go get this money, breadheads. Make sure you tell somebody that you love them. But most importantly, take care of yourself. We know it's hard out there. Do your thing. Show us some love. And let's get this bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.